Okay, I'm making a video, and you can see me in my monitor screen with the camera up there. And do you see the little blue thing? I can make it move all around. This is no strange, weird thing. It is kind of weird, but it is something called lens flare. And different cameras make this differently. But pay no attention to that. I'm going to try to get away from that. And I want to show how that I make pictures and movies and videos of orbs. Now you see me with my camera there, and that bright light, well, that's what makes that blue thing show up, because normally people don't shoot pictures into the light, except I'm not too normal. I do. So you look at the light, you see more lens flare, because all these red things, little red circles, are what you call lens flare. I have another kind of lens flare that maybe that green is coming out on one side, because it corresponds to the green and blue or purple of the other side. Anyway, it is an interesting thing that light does. But now I want to show you something. This that I'm holding in my hands are just marbles. Now sometimes, let me show you. Sometimes I use one single marble, and I always get round orbs when I use one single marble. And sometimes I get quite extraordinary pictures of orbs when I use this candlestick holder, I think that's what it is. But for the sake of this video, well, I may use all of these, but I'm going to start with this one that is several little glass marbles all glued together. Excuse me, my voice is a little hoarse. And it's raining outside. You can hear the rain in the background. Now what I do, how I make an orb, is you have your camera and you have your light in front of you, and best of all in a dark room, just the one light on in the room. These little LED lights will make a bright, intense light that doesn't just fill the whole room, but it's very intense around where it does come out. So now you take your marble, and you have your camera on a setting where the flash is not going to open. And then you focus. You bring your focus in on shiny parts of that shine that is on the marble. Now if you get it close to the light, you will see, often I see little threaded cords. I've shown some of them in my other pictures, still pictures. They're not very colorful tonight. And there's dark spots, because light sends out dark light as well as colorful light. And this is the light as it first emanates from the light source. Okay, now you get out a little further, and you might think that this is what is in the marble. At first I thought maybe this was something that's in the glass, but no. There are layers. I'm not holding it very still. Let me see if I can steady it. And come in even closer. That's the closest I can get. There are layers of dimensions that you can see in this. And sometimes there's little round rings that come boiling up like this were a liquid. And as I move the camera and the lights and the marble around in the space around the light source, I get different pictures that show up. And see this little thing right here? Okay, that's one of the little white rings that comes up and just moves around. Of course, some of it is the unsteadiness of my hand. But then there's more than one bubble that comes up like that. Here's another one. It's very unusual. And now the color threads are getting a little more intense. I'll back off from it and let you see. Now, you see that the light is right there. And as I move the camera out and close into that, I get what looks like just strands or cords of light. I'm going to go back in. And there is behind there another whole different background that looks kind of grayish. And as I move around so that you see different parts of the light spectrum, in that you can see movement there as well. Let me zoom in on that. That's usually a very hard orb for me to get a picture of, because it always stays behind other orbs. But it's real gray. Okay, I'm going to go back out again. Now if you come out here, further out from the light source, you just get a variety of things. You never know what you're going to get. I'll go close in on some of them. And see, because there's so many bright spots on these glass marbles, there's a lot of shiny spots that are making an orb. And it's just interesting to see. I'm not getting my more spectacular looking orbs tonight, but I'm going to use a different thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this. Okay, let me go back so you can see what I'm using. I'm using the candlestick glass implement, and I'm going to focus on the shiny part of it. And here I go. And then I will get a different look. I'll move around and we'll see what some of these orbs look like. Sometimes I do believe that the noises are motors that are running all around in the room influence the way these orbs look. But tonight, because of the storm, I have turned off my computer, so that's not running. Okay, I'm going to stay in this area and show you this little thing that moves around in there. And I don't have my fan on. And I have no music playing into the atmosphere of this room, because all of those things, sounds and motors, do influence what the orbs look like, I think. I'm no expert on this, but I may be the only one exploring this that I know of. I sort of found a way of looking at light this way with the camera, because I wanted so much to show what it is that I see with the naked eye. I don't see it quite like this, but I do see the strands of light coming out from any light source as being very colorful and full of orbs. Now, I'll go back in and see every little shiny part off of this candlestick makes a small orb in which there is different colors and different patterns going on. And sometimes I can, oh, the light went out just now, came back on. I'm probably going to lose the light this storm. Okay, look at this one. This one's unusual. No, there goes the printer. I didn't unplug it. It's restarting because it went off for a second. I'm probably going to throw this video away. It's not going to turn out like I want, probably, but let me keep up for a little while. See what I can get. Now I'm going to go out and let you see what this looks like when you see it in a smaller way. It shows a bigger portion of it. Light doesn't travel, light reproduces itself. And light is like the proverbial snake that bites its own tail. I have many pictures of light doing that. And you can make the light with the movement that you give to the shine by moving the glass. You can make it go in and out. You can see how light comes out from the source. Okay, let's make it come out. Okay, now you see it's an orb, but it is an orb that will stretch and come out of itself and go into yet another orb. And orbs on their side look like quarters. And see, I can make that little ball between the two of them come in and go out of the one on the top and the one on the bottom. When it goes into the one on the bottom or the top, it becomes that orb. Orbs are very congenial to one another, and they leave a little light trail, luminousness. So you see, I'm going to show you now there's two that are going in and out of each other as I move it. And as I make them go in and out of each other, you can see these orbs have different things going on within them. I'll get up real big so you can see some of the coloring of the orb. The lights and colors inside the orbs just constantly change. They show all the colors of the rainbow, but in their own order, which is so various. It's not just like the rainbow with the colors all precisely in a certain arrangement. See what all I can get. Bring this in and see what it is I'm getting there. See how light enters into its own self, and I'm moving it, of course, so I can show you the action of how it does that. These are photons of light, and they carry within them all kinds of colors and all kinds of terrain. It looks like terrain. And with a certain other camera that I have, not this one, I reach a different spectrum of the light and I see little light creatures. They don't look like anything that you would recognize as a creature on this earth, but I do believe they are light creatures nevertheless. Now I'm turning the glass thing so I can get a different angle. When you get different angles, you cause this magnification of the light to go through the glass in a different manner. And then the little orb that is showing the light changes in its appearance. And sometimes you can see even more stuff in it when you get a different angle on it. Light to me looks like a veil, sometimes quite a thin veil. Like gauze almost. And it has little rents in it where it looks like it's tearing in spots. And it has colored patterns in it. These are not some of my best pictures of these orbs. But like I say, I don't have any music on. Well, I do have the sound of the rain outside. Now let me get closer to the source of light. You can do this with the sunlight, but you get too much light. Your camera will take in too much of the light, and so you get really transparent orbs. But you still get color. I have many videos out there that show still pictures of me taking pictures of orbs outdoors. I'm moving a little bit around so I can see what all is in the light spectrum. Let me go in. Okay, I'm just looking inside of round orbs. Boy, listen to that rain. Now, you might say this is just light. This is just something light does. Well, it's true. It is light. But how light travels is how energy travels. And we live in a world where we're desperate for more energy to run our cars and run our homes and all our appliances and computers and things. So we need to study light. Light is a living entity. It lives and reproduces itself. And because it is a living entity, it is conscious. And I think we can communicate with this light if we will respect it and treat it like a conscious entity and not think we can abuse it or demand of it, or all the ways we've treated the poor little atom, making it into atomic bombs and nuclear fission and things like that. We have to honor these forces, and they're not going to work well with us if we think that there's something that we can dominate. And light is beautiful and playful and mysterious. Hold it still right here and let you see the action of some of the little round things in it. When I'm filming these orbs, they pulsate. They just get big, small, big, small. It's not just my camera. I do go in and out of focus on it, but the orbs on their own flicker and change their colors and pulsate. And that sounds like a living something to me. I think what I have discovered here is what it looks like, what empty space is filled with, what that looks like. Because I practice looking at empty space. And if you look at empty space and you try to not look at objects but just the empty space, you can see there's movement. There's a little energy that you can see with your naked eye if you concentrate. It looks sort of like a little heat haze, but it's moving in many directions. Boy, this storm, they said it's going to be pretty nasty. Didn't want to take any chances with my computer, so I unplugged it all. Rain, rain. Okay, now I'm going to use just the one marble. I always get round orbs when I use a round spear. I don't get all the other shapes you saw. sort of looks like, I don't know. I really don't know. Metal, maybe, or cracked ground, or who knows what this terrain is, but there's many of them. They're fields. I'm really up in that one. You can hardly see the edges. And you see how the colors move about. Of course, if I was holding this camera perfectly still, I wouldn't have all this movement in it. But what do we have that in our natural world is ever perfectly still? Nothing. Everything moves. And movement gives us all these colors and all this activity. When I have music on, and it's something lively with a good beat to it, then the orb seems to pulsate in rhythmic sync to the music. You'll have to check out my Hello Dolly orb video, because I have a music of that song in the background, and the orbs seem to be dancing right along with it. Now, who would imagine that all this color is in the air all around us, and we can see it with the light, so it's in the light and in the air, and yet it is in another dimension. So when you think about it, another dimension surrounds us all the time. But we don't know how to look at it. But some people are becoming more sensitive and able to see into that dimension. And with the camera, anyone can see it, because you can look at this video. And maybe this dimension, and this is strange, I know it sounds strange, but maybe this dimension is more real than what we physically can see. Because what we physically can see is illusion. We're all caught up in a holographic illusion. So maybe what I'm seeing in empty space, it looks like this, is more real than what we call our reality. Now, do I definitely know that? No. That's just me guessing. But I think it's a pretty good guess. We are swimming around in this invisible kind of dimension of light that surrounds us, and we're unaware of it. Most people are unaware and don't even want to become aware of it. I went to visit my sisters this last week, and I showed them some of my orb pictures, and they were not interested one bit in it. Well, a little bit, maybe a tiny bit they were interested, but not enough to want to know, how did I get those pictures, or what, to tell me what they thought I was taking a picture of. Because, oh, I'm making a video. I'll be out in a little while. Someone is coming in my room. Because, you see, they think it's dabbling into the occult. And that is something they forbid themselves to do. But I'm the brave one, maybe the black sheep of the family, because I'm going to delve into it. I'm not afraid. My grandson didn't know I was making a video. I guess he thought I was in here talking to myself out loud. Now I do talk to myself, but not out loud. I'm always talking to myself and giving myself answers. But you know, anymore I don't think that makes you crazy. I think it makes you sane. We kind of live in a crazy kind of world where nothing is what it should be. Anyway, some people who have seen some of my videos have asked me to show them how I take pictures of orbs intentionally. So many other people, myself included, we can get orbs in our pictures that we don't see when we take the picture. But when we look at the picture, there's the orb showing up. And there are people who see those kind of orbs with the naked eye. I always want to get it small, see? I don't get all of the detail. But when I bring the focus in, and I get all the color and the pulsing. And as I move it about in the room in different areas, all of this changes. I do wish I could get particle physicists or quantum physicists, the ones who are looking for the smallest thing in the atom, to look at this, because I don't think this is an atom. I think this is a photon of light, because it comes right directly out of the light, and that it is something that is smaller than the smallest thing in the atom. Look at that. It's like, wow. It's like
we're about to float away.
You're about to do what?
Float away.
Oh, okay. I'll come look at the rain here in a minute. Everybody wants me to go outside, quit making this video, and listen to the rain, which I will do. This is the Dove Lady talking at you. I'll see you again with another video of more than likely orbs.